Hey, it's me here once again, and I thought today I'd do a new series called Plucked from Obscurity, where I look at albums throughout the annals of music and go more in depth to albums you probably never heard of, as goes by the title Plucked from Obscurity. Today I'm going to look at Coven's Witchcraft Destroys Minds, Reach Souls, released 1969. On my previous channel, I actually had this in one of my top 50 albums of all time, at I believe number 49, 48, 49, somewhere in there. And it's a good album for what it is. There's parts to it I would have changed, but for what it is, it works well. Now, it also is it has a blend of psychedelic rock, acid hard rock, also maybe even bits of early art rock, progressive rock influence, jazz in a way, sound. And yeah, it's also iconic because it's the first album to feature the on the album cover, and also stuff like upside down crosses and phrases like Hail Satan in it, as you can go by the whole album title of it. It features Jinx Dawson on lead vocals, and I have to say, Jinx Dawson is probably my favorite female lead vocalist of all time. I love her voice. James Vincent, aka Jim Donlinger, on guitar and vocals. He actually used a pseudonym for this album. I assume he didn't want to have anything really to do with it for rightful or wrong reasons. I can see why he did it. Features Jim Nyholt, John Hobbs, and Rick Durrett on organ, piano, and keyboards throughout this album. Alan Estes and Oz Osborne on bass. As you can tell, yeah, through some of this, there is a little bit of Black Sabbath type stuff in here, and Stephen Ross, the drummer. Now let's get into the songs. Song number one we're going to start with is called Black Sabbath. Now this isn't anything like Black Sabbath that most people know. It's actually it's a very poppy, very upbeat, soothing, mellow opening almost. That's how I wrote it. I love Jinx's voice. And it's one thing I'll say, if anybody here goes and listens to this album, I will put Jinx Dawson up there with any of the great female vocalists, because to me, she actually is a great vocalist. Whether or not you agree with the subject matter she's singing with, that's a whole nother issue, but on this album, it's solid from start to finish. And I love her vocal range. The sound of the song sounds very 60-ish in its approach. Also on this, I love the bass. I love Oz Osborne's bass on this whole album. It's a booming sounding bass, and it really is infectious at times. Nice tempo changes. I love the haunting Oz in it. I like the small guitar solo with the keyboards and the freak out section and the song. Now, the thing I'll say about this album doesn't have like any of those typical iconic, very long solos or anything. They're very short, they're to the point. Very much like most of this album. Song number two is White Witch of Rose Hall. I love the piano intro. It works very well. I love the drumming, nice audible booming bass when he does play, because he doesn't always play during this song, and that's something I love about this, is if you have something, you can also hold back on it a little bit, and I think on this song it really helped. Great vocals, and one thing I'll also say about it, the way Jinx sings, is it also sounds very sinister. It has a very sinister feel to it. Even songs you might think, okay, that sounds good, but also the way she just delivers them, it sounds sinister. Song number three was a song actually written by the band. There was 4 of them on this album. Coven in Charing Cross. It has a nice clean guitar opening, which is actually kind of, compared to the other ones, different, because they're more of that acid hard rock guitar playing. This one's very clean, very open. Nice booming bass, like on most of this. It's a very booming bass when he does play. Lyrics seem to mention an orgy going on at some points of the song. Nice drums, chants during the song, which is very different, like, to hear chants. But I feel it really worked in the song. As I said, I love Jinx Dawson's vocal range because she can go from very soft to very high on the spectrum. Works very well, especially on the na-na-nas over the guitar solo until it fades. Na na na. Yeah, it's a great song to just listen to. I like it. Even though I might not agree with the subject matter in the song, I can't really diss the song because the musicianship on it's good. The vocals on it are really good. And yeah, another motorbike going by. Song number 4 on the album, For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, has a very jazzy feel to it. I love how Jinx Dawson starts it, which is belting out this great vocals, pretty much for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge is what she's saying. And as I said, jazzy feel to it. Has a male voice singing with her throughout the song, and it sounds beautiful. It's very soft, and then it builds into her very higher pitch vocals. I love the build-up of the drums and the guitar. It's very and also another thing I'll say about the guitar solo in the song is also very hard rock, almost acid rock guitar sounding at times, but it works very well. Very audible bass. I love the bass lines in this song. It's infectious at times. Love the organ section, which sounds great and kind of ends off the song. I believe they go back to the opening bit and sort of start it off as the same way it ends. Song number 5 on the album is Pact with Lucifer. I love the beat and the guitar work on this song. Has nice background vocals. Like I said, it's also another song I believe that features Jinx with another singer. I think it works well for her voice. It's a very good foot tapping song. I actually found myself tapping my foot during this song. And the chorus is very singable. And like I said about most of this, Jinx Dawson is a very amazing singer. Now on to song number 6. Choke Thirst Die. Nice male vocals with Jinx. I believe the male actually starts off the song, which is nice, and Jinx kind of fades into it. It's very mellow. And then it picks up the tempo as the song really goes on. Guitar solo, once again, very short, sweet, to the point. The guitar work on this album is fantastic. If you want to hear what I think a lot of bands should do, or guitar players should do, instead of trying to write these amazing epic solos, maybe do a little bit more of this, like nothing too over the top, just very straightforward to the point. It has an infectious bass. It's a foot tapping song. I love this song. It's very foot tapping. Like most of this album, even though the subject matter I might not agree with, as I said, I can't help but tap my foot to a lot of these songs. They're very infectious, very well written. Number 7 is my favorite song from the entire album, Wicked Woman, which is the best song on the album, I think, by far. It's that hard rock song from the album. It has fantastic guitar work. Jinx's voice coming in with the yeah, yeah. It's just great, and then it's just her lyrical voice. Lights in the dark, feeling like crosses, the razors like barbed wire. Just that vocal, and it keeps going, and I also love, it's very poppy sounding, or no, wrong song. She sings the song perfectly. Sings it perfectly, big booming bass through it, solid drumming. I love how she holds that note. You're going to hell. And just holds it for a long time. It's a very good part to the song. And also an amazing guitar solo. Just a fantastic guitar solo during the song. A guitar solo that is so good. I bet you it's somewhat burning Tony Iommi's mustache. Just a little bit. Song number 8 on the album is Dignitaries of Hell. I think once again on this fantastic guitar playing, very poppy sounding, that's where I got mixed up there. Rhythm is very good, very bass driven. Oz Osbourne, I think, was really being shown off on this album, and I love his bass work on this album. Jing's voice is infectious and great guitar fills throughout the entire song. That's something you don't really get a lot through songs. It's just fills. Usually they're solos or something, but on this album it's more fills. Song number 9 on the album, a very short song called Portrait. Very bass and guitar driven, dreamy like guitar playing, and Jig's vocal range is amazing. The only problem with the song is it's very short. That's the only thing I kept feeling after the song like I wanted more. And now for the final song of the album, Satanic Mass. I don't really know if you call it a song. It's just more of a chant sermon. It's very self-explanatory to what it is. And I look at this song now, going back and looking at this, with this in it, it's 45 minutes and 55 seconds. Now, my thoughts on this is, if you take this song out, it's 32 minutes, 36 seconds. I think that is probably what should have happened to this album, is this song should have been cut. But, you know what, it is what it is. It happened. It's on the album. But I really believe this song dragged the album down, just probably a star point for me, at least down. Now, the reception of this album is that it was pulled off shelves due to controversy very early. I believe a week or even a month after its release, it was off shelves. For everyone who likes talking about how progressive and free-loving the 60s and early 70s were, I still believe at that time the world was very not progressive, very conservative at the time. And this happened to come out at the wrong time. And I really believe that. If you probably would have maybe even waited a year. Now, I think the thing that also hurt the album is the fact that other bands were doing the same thing in a way, but they were also very sneaking it in there. It wasn't so upfront and obvious. Coven was almost like, this is what we are, deal with it type stuff. And hey, all power to them. It's their rights. It's like, hey, they want to do it. They want to do it. Good for them. The other thing I felt like this was more of art. Another vehicle going by. Just feel like it's more of a art rock / shock rock album, maybe more so than the psychedelic, acid hard rock stuff that it's been labeled as. But that's just my opinion. I could maybe even call it more of a very heavily produced garage album, but hey, that's me. Also, talking about this album is that I think songs 1 through 9 are very good. I believe they are very good. Satanic Mass brings it down, so where do I rate the album out of 5? I'll give it a solid 3 out of 5. It's not the worst album I've ever heard. It's actually more above average than what I remember listening to it. But I just can't get over, A, some songs are too short, and B, the last thing on the album kind of ruined it for me. Like, I was enjoying it up until that point, and then it's kind of like, okay, get on with it. And yeah, so that's my thoughts and opinions. This is episode number 1 of Plucked from Obscurity. I don't know how many more of these I'm going to do. I'll see how the response is to it. If you like Coven, be sure to like, comment, favorite, subscribe. If you see this on other stuff, just share it with your friends. I have been doing some thinking of what I'm going to be doing next. And on my old channel, I had a series called God's a Guitar that I started and I actually want to finish. And I thought, you know what, I'll restart the whole thing. There might be some videos that have the same title, but I might update them due to the fact, A, at this point, like even with this is way better than the webcam I was using before. And so I'm going to figure out what I want to do. My Uriah Heep discography will still keep going on. I would love the response from it. It's been great. It's been great actually talking about Heep. But once again, this is me here. Peace.